Welcome to the Rise of She, the empowering podcast that celebrates the unstoppable force of women. I'm your host, Prita Bulaki, and together we will shatter the glass ceilings, rewrite the rules, and reveal the extraordinary power within each and every woman. Join me as we redefine heroism, demanding the world to acknowledge that the word hero is just an O without her. Discover with me how women can unleash their internal potential, demand equitable pay that reflects their true worth, vanquish insecurities, conquer work-life balance, and embrace profoundly fulfilled lives. If you like my podcast, feel free to connect with me on Instagram and Facebook for an empowering journey like no other. Find me at Prita Bulaki and let's ignite the fire within. Disclaimer. The primary purpose of this podcast is to provide education. Information provided in this podcast is not intended to diagnose, prevent, treat, or cure any disease. Information given in this podcast must not be used in any legal capacity whatsoever, including but not limited to as a basis for expert witness testimony or establishing standard of care in a legal sense. Trigger warning. Some experiences shared in the podcast may be triggering to some audience members. User discretion is advised. Hi everyone, welcome to this inspiring episode of the Rise of She podcast, where we celebrate the incredible stories of women who have overcome challenges to reach extraordinary heights. I'm your host, Prita Bulaki, and today we have the privilege introducing Julie Fisher, a remarkable woman whose journey is just wow. Julie is a best-selling author, speaker, radio host, and works together with families to ensure their children are being seen and heard. Inclusion, is it something that anyone should have to fight for? But for many, this is an everyday battle that feels like it will never end. Have you ever thought what it would be like if your child or someone you care for was made to feel like they shouldn't be somewhere or doing something that others take for granted? Julie Fisher is a mom of 3 boys and is also a carer of her youngest son, who lives with Down syndrome. Her journey into the world of disability with Darcy began when she was pregnant with her family. They decided to provide the best life possible for Darcy. Over the last 18 years, Judy has become an advocate for inclusion and acceptance, not only for her son, but for many people who live with a disability. She shares her family journey with her son, which will open your heart to see the beauty of disability. Since her unexpected journey of publishing her book, she has worked with Down syndrome Victoria carers Victoria and have completed her first TEDx Talk, as well as been interviewed on radio, many podcasts, and for Melbourne news program. Julie's goal, say it all, give people a chance and watch them shine. One smile changes everything. Our topic today is embracing inclusion, stories of strength and acceptance. Hi Julie, welcome to the Rise of She. How are you doing?
Hi, Prita. I'm really good, thank you. And thank you so much for having me today. I'm really looking forward to our conversation.
I'm looking forward as well. So, Julie, tell me, what is your story?
Our story is, it's funny, 19 years ago, it wasn't very common for families to receive a prenatal diagnosis of Down syndrome. Not in Australia, anyway. It's much more common now. But 2 years before I got pregnant with my son, I made really good friends with a lady who has a daughter with Down. I used to ask her lots of questions so that I could learn a bit about her daughter, because I used to love watch playground at the school. And one of the questions I asked her was, what was it like to get a postnatal diagnosis? And when she explained to me the grief and the sorrow and that they all went through, I just sort of thought, I would really like to go through that beforehand so that when the baby arrived, we can all celebrate. And, after talking with her, she said, that would be much better, because each time they sort of felt like they were coming to terms with the diagnosis, somebody else would come in and the grief would start again. So when I did get pregnant and the chance of Down syndrome did come up, my husband and I decided that we would find out so that we could tell everybody, we could learn while I was pregnant, go through all the emotions while I was pregnant, which was interesting because I didn't think I'd go through them like other people because of my friend, because I'd got to know her and her daughter, but I did still go through all of those because we're heading on a path that gets changed quite dramatically, quite quickly once you hear those words. And even though you know it's going to be okay, you still sort of don't really know exactly what your life is going to look like. And I was a busy mum with my two older boys doing lots of sports and things like that, and just sort of thinking, how is this all going to work? How is this going to... But we managed, and we got lots of support along the way, which was really great. And then he's the inspiration for me to become an author, and becoming an author was a dream I'd had since I was a teenager. And so he was the inspiration, and the first book talks about our journey from prenatal diag to 13. And then, you know, this new world opened for me about, you know, becoming an advocate for inclusion and acceptability and supporting families. It's just all really organically grown over the last 5 years, and now I have 4 books. I've just recently published a children's book speaking to a wider audience about how we can all do better in the community for our loved one. And I'm doing lots of stuff, amazing people. I really love what I'm doing. It's all because of him.
That's amazing. That's amazing to hear. So during that path, were there any, maybe some of the experience which really make you feel uncomfortable, and where you have decided that inclusion is very important? Where was that during your path?
Yeah, so that sort of all started when we started telling people that Darcy had Down syndrome while I was pregnant. So on one hand, I had this amazing group of women who were all mums to children with Down syndrome that was supportive for me, you know, telling me what I needed to do, what I needed to put in place for my son when he arrived, which was, you know, early intervention, get a good pediatrician, and just surround myself with support. So we entered this beautiful world of disability where everybody was looking out for each other, supporting each other, rising each other up, and very, very positive. I mean, there was lots of conversations in there about funny stories with their kids, and, you know, they were all going through challenges as well. You know, we're all worried about our children, but we had that. And then on the other hand, when I started telling people that our syndrome, we started noticing the judgment, and I guess, yeah, very negative, you know, and that started with the doctors. The doctors were really pushing term my pregnancy, even though I was 15 weeks along, found out. And then when we started telling people in the community, like at my work and my friends, we were getting a lot of I'm sorry's, which I didn't quite mind that, because I think when we don't know what to say, we say I'm sorry, especially if we think it's a little sad. But people would say things like, oh, he'll be a baby forever. What are you going to do about your other 2 boys? Because you'll have to spend all your time with him. He'll never get a job. He won't ever be able to do any immunity. And it really, really hit hard. And I think a lot of the emotional roller coaster that we went through was because of comments like that from people, you know, that don't know. And I guess, you know, you don't know what you don't know. And if people are ability, they don't see in people like my son, and they don't see, you know, the things that they achieve. And they might take a little while, a little longer than we do, but they still can achieve their dreams just like everybody else.
Yeah.
You know, I'm sure he wants to be a basketball player in the NBA, but he might not quite get that far. But he's part of Special Olympics basketball, so, you know, you never know where that's going to take. So, and then once he was born, when we were out in the community, I started noticing a lot of people staring. And when I was by myself, I never noticed people looking at me. But when I had my son, start noticing. When he was a baby, I used to react to it. I didn't like it. I wondered why they were staring. And as he got older, I realised I needed to change that, because he was feeling the negativity of that as well. So I started to smile at people, and 9 out of 10 people smiled back at me, and some of them would even say hello to him. So I quickly discovered that the look or the stare is always negative, because we do look at people all the time. But what we also experience, and we still experience now, he's 18, and every time we go out, we experience it at least once. People pointing and laughing and saying really rude things that don't really need to be said. You know, I don't understand why they think it's okay. And I don't understand it at all, because I think, well, you don't have to look after him.
Yeah.
He's not we don't even know these people, but they feel it's okay to laugh at him for whatever reason. He's never doing anything strange. He's always just walking with me and enjoying our day out. So that's why I want to really educate people on how it makes us feel. They might think it's just a passing comment or just a little, oh, look at him. But it actually really impacts us. And, there's lots of people that stop going certain places because of that sort of behaviour. And that's not fair. We should be able to go anywhere we want with our children and enjoy our day just like they are. So that's why I'm doing what I'm doing, because I really want people to know how it makes feel. And I don't think it's hard to be kind. I don't think it's hard to just, look at people for who they are and not what they have, or, if they don't walk, not because they don't look at them because they're in a wheelchair. Look at them first as a person, because that's what we all are. At the end of the day, that we're all people and we're all different as well. Every single one of us. We all have our little quirky behaviours as well that we do. We all have little things that we like to do. My son is a person, and he loves people. He's very social. He loves to go out. He loves the basketball. And I want him to be able to do that without worrying about what somebody might be going to say, make him feel awful or like he shouldn't be there. I don't think that.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. That's not right. And I'm just surprised actually that you're telling me that there are still people out there now still giving comment. It's like, I'm just shocked because I thought that, we have changed and people are more aware before saying something, if it makes sense.
You
but
would think so.
How do you work on that? How do you, obviously you talk a lot about inclusion and acceptance. How do you advise people, like if they're hearing you and they have this kind of situation, how do we work towards it and what we should do? Because obviously I remember talking to a mom who was telling me that her son behaved badly in society, and sometimes she really wants to bring her to the restaurant and go out, but sometimes the way he eats and everyone will comment, and she feel very bad about it, and that's why she doesn't go out. She cannot bear the judgment. She cannot bear people looking at her, and then her son is not eating properly, and so on. And how do we, because obviously it's not the mom's fault as well if she's in that situation. So how would you advise, for example, that mom to go out and be confident? Because at the end of the day, it doesn't matter what other people think. It's what we think, and we should enjoy our life. We shouldn't base our daily activities on someone else's judgment. So what advice would you give to?
Well, for a mum like that, it's very, very difficult, because judgment from others, it's crippling. It's really, really crippling. But I would advise her to always have someone with her as well. So go out, take her son out with maybe a support person or a friend or someone else that knows, so that she has that support for a start. And another thing is, I'd be interested to see if the behaviour is really that bad, or if the judge people is making it seem that would me. Because I have a friend her son, when he was little and they'd go out for dinner, he used to do things like sit on the floor with his plate because he didn't want to sit at the table. And people used to comment on that. So she stopped going to certain restaurants because of those comments. Now, my question to them is he hurting you? Is he in your way? And is he disturbing you? And the answer to those three questions was always no. So why do they think it's okay to pass a judge comment on because of what she had to do, whatever she could, so he was happy, and so that everybody else at the table, say if it was a table of 10, could enjoy them, and that's how they enjoyed it. And just because it was a little different, it doesn't give people the right. When I'm out in the community shopping or anything and I see a mum that I think is struggling with a child, I always go over to them and say hello, and I just ask them if they would like some help. 9.5 times out of 10, the mum's always going to say no, but the fact that you've just offered some help, it just changes her whole day. Rather than walking past and making a comment like, keep your kid quiet or whatever it might be, if you just walk past, and even if you just say, are you okay? Do you need a hand? And judge in the community, even if she says no to the offer. So that's another thing. And with my books and when I speak, I always get told by people that listen to me and read my, they always say, thank you so much. I didn't even realize that something like that would make you feel so uncomfortable, and I'm going to sure I do better. And the more people that you get to, the more people they'll tell as well.
Yeah.
And then, you know, it just spreads like that. You know, some people, the people that make the comment, I don't know how I can change that, and I don't know how I can stop them from doing that. But I just hope with everything that I'm doing that message gets out there somehow to them. The other thing with people that make comments is I never comment back anymore, but I always make sure that they see that I've heard them and it's not okay just by a look. And usually they look quite embarrassed. Sometimes they don't want you to hear. Sometimes they don't think you can hear, but you can, and you can feel it too. You can feel
Exactly.
that negativity. So that's the sort of thing that I do. But with the lady that you were just talking about, I would definitely recommend her to take a support person with her so that she's got somebody else with her son, and just to try and block those judgmental stares and things out. It's very, very difficult, but just try to block them out so she can concentrate on him, because what's happening is then she's become anxious, which is creating more anxiety for him as well. So, you know, that it's a whole ripple effect that happens, and that would probably elevate her as well. So it's very, very difficult to push past it and to try and ignore it. But I mean, that's one of the strategies that but I do always sort of let them know lightweight, I know what they're doing, so that they know.
I love that part that you're saying, you let them know, like you can hear them, or you know they're commenting on something, you know. So it's obviously it's difficult situation, because even if you use the strategy, when you go home you're like thinking of these people.
Yeah.
And I was talking to a lot of people, especially I do have a cousin who has kid who can't move and is always in bed, and she doesn't go out often, and she's always leaving the baby home, and it's hard for her as well to be in the society. And I remember the first time she was not going out at all, she barely was talking to us, and obviously us trying to make her at ease, it's difficult for us as well, because we don't really know what should we do to make her feel comfortable as well. So what would you advise family who want to support, friends who want to support, or the community who want to support as well? Because the reality is sometimes, like you said, you don't know what you don't know. So how do you support and be there? Because sometimes we think a lot before saying something, but at the same time, then some of the people prefer not to say anything or not be there because it's easier. But the reality is we want to help. We want to make her feel comfortable, or even the community. So what would you advise us how to bring that inclusion, that acceptance, that the person doesn't feel hurt or feel uncomfortable?
Yeah, I would just always be there for those people. Check in on them every couple of weeks to see how they're going, or weekly, however close you are with them. Offer to go with them when they go out and take the child. Just say, let's take him or her out, even if it's just for a walk around the block. Just those small steps to get her out. If the child is disabled, which I'm guessing they are, you know, ask them, are they on the NDIS? Do they have support people that can help them? Because that's really important as well, because then those support people can come and they can take the child out, and the mum can even just catch up on things at home, or have lunch with a girlfriend, but my advice is to even, you know, a lot of us, we're our own worst enemies sometimes, because when people offer help, we more often than not will say no thanks. And then people stop offering. But don't stop off. Just be present. Let her know you're always there. Send her a text. Just thinking of you. How's your day going? Do you want a coffee? You got time to catch up, or anything like that? Just always, so she knows that you're there, so that when she does want to reach out, she's not going to feel awkward in doing that, because you are present. So I think that's, you know, because it is difficult. We do often say, you know, no thanks, I'm okay, but really we would like those. And even, as I said before, even just offering the help and being there just makes a huge difference, because you do feel supported. And then you know that if, you know, when she gets the confidence to take her child out, she'll say, oh, Preeta's been checking every week, offering to come out with us, so I might take her up on it. And she might message you and say, have you got half an hour to go out for coffee? I want to take the daughter out. And you can say, yes, I'll be there at this time, and, you know, let's do this, and support her, and just slowly but surely get out, because the child deserves to be out as well. They don't, nobody wants to sit at home.
I really love your advice, like just not stop offering your help, keep on offering your help. And that's so powerful, because yes, sometimes we're like, maybe we're asking her or anyone who is listening now and know, or in that situation, and we're like, it's better not to ask again. But I love what you just said, keep on being there, because So, right, when you're in your low moment, this is the person that you're gonna reach out and say, "Are you free? Can we talk?" Or that's so beautiful.
Even just to chat on the phone, just to sort of take her out of that moment for however long,
Yeah.
even if it's just a 10-minute chat, just to talk about whatever, your favorite hobbies or whatever it might be, just to always just be checking, saying hello or that. And I think it does go a long way. You definitely remember those people, and they're the people that you reach out to when you finally do decide, oh, I might like to go to the shop. And then you'll feel good because you've been trying to support them and work.
Thank you so much, Julie. As you know, a Kickassbuddy is a supportive friend, mentor, colleague who encourages and motivates you to pursue your goals, help you to overcome challenges, celebrate your success. This person is someone who believes in you, offers guidance, feedback, challenges you to push beyond your comfort zone. I believe having a Kickassbuddy can provide a valuable source of support and accountability, and can help us to remain focused and motivated as we work towards our personal or professional aspiration. Who has been your Kickassbuddy throughout your journey? And in your opinion, why is it important to have a supportive network or a Kickassbuddy system to achieve success or achieve any goals in your life?
I think it's really important because I think whatever journey you're traveling, it's always good to have a support person, a like-minded person traveling the same road. So when we all have our first children, the hospitals put us in, this is in Australia, they put us into a first mums group, and you become friends with these mums.
Yes.
And it's really important because when you're a first mum, again, you don't know what you don't know. And sometimes, your baby might be doing something and you think, oh my God, what are they doing? Like, I hope it's all right. And then you catch up with the other mums and all the kids are doing the same thing.
Yeah.
So it gives you confidence and you're doing the right thing. So with my journey with Darcy, my Kickassbuddy is definitely my friend Tina. I've got lots of Kickassbuddies though throughout my whole life, which is wonderful. But with this particular journey, it's definitely my friend Tina, who's the lady that I met before we got pregnant. There's never been a question I couldn't ask her. And, she invited me into the support group that she was running. And we just do so much together. She's advised me on therapists and things like that, given me guidance of where to go, who to ask, things like that. Funding before the NDIS came along, it was a lot more difficult than what it is now, even though the NDIS is going through some interesting changes at the moment. Before the NDIS, it was very, very difficult to get funding, even for a few speech appointments. So she's always been to give me the keep me going, and she's now also my co-host on my radio show.
Oh, amazing.
And on the radio show, we interview service and support providers in the disability sector. And this year, we've started having people who live with a disability come on and share this as well. So we do lots together, and I can see us doing lots more. She supports me at my speaking events as well. She's always there taking some photos and things like that, and help. She's a great lady. I can always reach out to her with any questions, or even if I just want to have a bit of a vent, if something's not going my way or whatever it might be. But it's so important. And when in everything that we want to do, sometimes we need coaches or friends or guidance, somebody. So it's really important to have those people to help us on our journey, give us the tools and the advice and the know-how, because sometimes we might think we want to do something, but we don't know how. We don't know how to take that step. It's like with Darcy, I knew that I had to do early intervention, but I didn't know how to book it. I didn't know where it was, and Tina was the one that helped that. So she's definitely, and we've got a lot of things in really good friends. See us doing wonderful things together.
That's amazing. That's so lovely to say. And how many years of friendship is that?
Oh, it would be, so Darcy's 18, so it'd be about 20 years of friendship.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Do you think that obviously you said that having that support system is fine, but do you agree that every time we reach a phase in our life that we need more support people and we need in specific areas that we need help as well? Is that have happened to you? Obviously you have Tina who's always here, but during your journey with Darcy, had you need other support as well to help you to in anything, like if you can share some.
Definitely. I think it's very important to become part of a community. With disability, there's lots of communities out there. And when COVID hit, a lot of those communities went on. So they're much, much easier to reach. In the Down syndrome world, you have Down syndrome Victoria, Down syndrome Australia. I've met some amazing ladies in my travels just at expos and things like that I've ended up connecting with. One in particular that I'm very proud that we're part of is called Celebrate T21. And she provides beautiful gift packs to new families, as well as putting them in touch with online support and face-to-face support. It's a nationwide organisation. We've got families all over Australia, and I think it's really important to be part of something like that too, because I'm connecting with a lot of people now with younger children, because they're looking at their kids, but they're looking at where they're going. That was a really good support for me with Tina as well, because some of these mums had kids that were 5 and 7 years old. So I'm getting a lot of people that are watching Darcy's journey with younger children, and they're asking questions, and they're reaching. We all sort of support each other, even, as I said, even if it's just to have a little quick chat, even online, to say, hi, how are you going? Or, oh, Julie, I know that Darcy did this with his schooling. What do you recommend? So I think that's really important too. The more, you can never have enough, I don't think. And sometimes with the online ones, you might just like to watch their page, just read the other people's posts, see what they're doing, and that might be just that comfort for you before you actually step out and contact somebody. And that's okay as well, because you can still see that you're all on that same sort of journey. I think it's really important.
I do agree. The reason why I'm asking you that, because there's many people having disabled kids where they stayed with the family and friend only surrounding. And how important is the community? Because when I was talking to some of the people, especially coming from an Asian background, they tend to keep their surrounding with friends and family only.
Yeah.
But I believe that the community is the one who can help you more, especially being in that community, who can give you more advice, as you said, having more that inclusion, acceptance, and helping you with other advice that the family and friend cannot give you. So how is that important?
It's important. I think it's important because our kids deserve to make friends as well. We've all got friends in different areas, work friends, school friends, mum friends, dad friends, whatever they might be. Friends that you've made with like hobbies that you do or things like that. And I think it's important in these communities, because then your children can make new friends as well. So Darcy has a friend, Sophie, who we met through Celebrate T21, and we've done quite a few things with them now as well. We've been to different events together, and Sophie and Darcy's friendship is really becoming very nice to watch. So, and the other thing is he is part of a group as well, that they take their participants out as a group. So rather than just a one-to-one support, it's support. And then there's about 10 to 15 of these young kids who all have disabilities that will go out bowling, or they'll go out to the movies, and he's making those friendships there. So he's got his own friends, which is really important, because our typical kids, all of us, we all have our own friendship groups. And I think part of the support in the community is for that as well, so that your kids have their own friend people. And then it's also, you can bounce questions off as a parent, bounce questions off. You can look at what they're doing. You can ask them for advice, and you can just talk. Just talking about things that are going on is really important, because otherwise we hold it all in here and we get anxious and we worry. But if we can talk about it, then other people can say, oh, well, this happened with us. I remember years ago with the coffee group that I was part of, one of the mums was talking about a funny behaviour that her son was doing, and she said, oh, I don't know this Down syndrome, I don't know if I'm going to make it. And I said, my other 2 kids do that. And she said, do they? I said, yeah. And she said, oh, so it's actually typical for him to be doing that at this age. I said, yes. And she said, oh, yes, so it's not the Down syndrome. So all those sorts of little conversations can help as well. She was feeling like he was doing this because he had Down syndrome. And when she found out that all these other kids were doing the same thing at the same age, she was so relieved. So, there's so many benefits to having that support around.
Yeah. I love it, because it's very important to have a community. That's what I believe. But sometimes when we are in these challenges, we think that many people won't understand us. If sometimes our friends and family are not understanding us, so why should we go to the community? And I believe that being in a community and having advice and living the same things every day and helping each other, it's so powerful. And that's the reason of me asking you how it's important, because people who's listening to us today will know that, be in the community and be there and get the help and seek help, which many people do not do. Seek help. It's
That's
very
right. It is important. And in these communities, you might find your kick-ass buddy.
Oh yeah. That's so true.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Julie. Obviously, you have been navigating through a lot of challenges, and a lot of us women does have a lot of challenges as well. So,
Yeah.
what's the one piece of wisdom or advice you could share with women that facing personal or professional obstacles and is listening to you today?
Probably my biggest piece of advice is to not sit and suffer inside. Definitely reach out to somebody, whether it's a family member, whether it's a friend. Friends are always good, because I think with our family, sometimes we fear judge depending on what it is we're going through. So I think friends are really good friends. I think it's important to have at least a handful of male friends or female friends that you can bounce off and you can tell them, it's going to stay within the friendship.
Yeah.
I think that's really important. And and ask for help. If you're struggling, don't sit in silence. Ask for help. There's always going to be somebody there that can help you. If I can't help you, I might know somebody so then I'll put you in touch with them. I think that's as simple as just reach out to help, talk. Don't keep things bottled up inside, because I think that's not good either. Have that cast buddy that reach out to whenever you need, and ask questions. If that's another thing, like with Darcy, if somebody sees us out there and they want to ask a question, come and ask, because that's how you're going to learn about Down syndrome, about him. So ask questions, and lean on for support. I think it's really important to have that.
Yeah, I think it's wonderful. I love the advice is don't suffer in silence. Nothing gonna happen. It's just gonna be worse or be stuck in the same situation. But if you ask, seek help and talk to people, talk to your friend, and just sharing it. You don't really sometimes doesn't need a solution, but just sharing with someone really help you to think above of that problem. Thank you so much, Judy, for your time. Thank you for sharing your incredible journey. And to our listeners, thank you for being part of this uplifting episode of The Rise of She. Remember, our journey matters immensely. Stay tuned for more empowering stories. And until next time, take care and keep rising.
If you have been inspired by today's episode, make sure to subscribe and follow The Rise of She to stay connected and never miss a moment of empowerment. Join me on Instagram and Facebook, where we'll continue to fuel the flames of progress and self-improvement together. Find me at Prita Balaki. Remember, we are unstoppable forces bound to inspire and empower one another. Until next time, Prita says adios, ladies. Stay tuned for our next empowering encounter.